I'm living my best life. Yeah, yeah. I'm living my best life. Made a couple M's, you know. I said, I'm living my best life. I said, I'm living my best life.
And welcome, friends, to Kiki's Keys to Unlocking Your Best Life. We are sharing stories of people who have been through their worst and are now living their best to give hope and inspiration to others. And I am here today with someone pivotal in our community. Her name is Chrisie Ballard, and you may know her through BNI, the Business Networking International, the largest networking organization of its kind worldwide. Chrissy's been a member of BNI for almost 20 years, you said? Almost 20, and then owner of the local region here with your husband, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And for how long now? 14 years?
So October 1st will be 14 years.
14 years. Wonderful.
I know.
And
Crazy.
you were an entrepreneur before buying BNI. You got involved as an entrepreneur.
So I got invited and I worked for somebody else. When I came into BNI, I worked for somebody else. I was a residential real estate appraiser. Got invited to BNI by a friend of mine and came in. It made sense. I mean, BNI is all about building the community, having each other's backs, and creating really great relationships so we can actually pass business to each other locally. And ends up being, internationally too, right? And then it probably was about 6 months, and I realized I was bringing in quite a bit of business because it was back in the day when the realtor and the lender and the banker, everybody could have relationships with me. And so I went to my boss and I was like, hey, so I'm not making any more money, but I'm bringing in more money. How about we partner up? And he was like, no, I'm really not interested. He and I had been friends for a long time. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take my BNI people and I'll pay you back for when he's like, no, it's okay. It's all right. So we hired somebody to stay with him, and I started my own business because of BNI.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what BNI is, can you explain it a little bit?
Yeah. I always say you kind of got to, BNI is like a strawberry. If you've never had it, it's hard to describe it, right? So I always say, come visit, no matter what you heard, no matter what you think, just come take a look at it. It might not be for you, and that's okay. It bothers me when people make a decision about it before seeing it and feeling it, right?
Right.
I like to say that we build communities within the community. We are teaching people that are great at what they do, and they love what they do, how to share it, how to be more effective, and to leverage their time. Because all of us would love to have 40 people marketing our business for us, 50, 60. I mean, all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hardly anybody can afford that.
Right.
And that's BNI affords that because you are in a room and you create relationships with the people in your space and across the region, sometimes across the nation and across the world, and you get to know each other and like each other, and you do great business.
I love that. I myself am a BNI member. That's how we got to know each other.
Yeah.
I moved here in Tucson on July 4th of 2022. And opened up my own insurance agency and knew nobody in town whatsoever. So immediately went to BNI.com, looked up local chapters, started, visiting, and joined a BNI chapter. And that's really what launched my business. Yeah. Being a chapter member, you make that commitment to your group and they make a commitment back to you. And I really liked that about it. And it really did give me that team support, not only in how to attract and maintain my business, but also it gives you a lot of training on how to be effective as a networker, as a business owner.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want people to be better outside of the BNI room too. Mm-hmm. You just want people to be great BNI members. No, first of all, what people choose to be is completely them, right?
True.
I want them to be successful for sure. And I want them to be successful outside of the room. There's a lot of fantastic networking organizations here. There's a lot of places to network, get your name out, meet people, connect with people. And I want people to be better when they're in those situations too. What's your message? Are you being clear? Are you being specific? Or are you trying to cast this gigantic net in the hope that you're going to catch one fish.
Or do you know what fish you're going for?
Right.
Right.
Or are you getting something that you actually don't even want? I mean, I tell members all the time, I'm like, ask for, like, what's the best of the best? What's, like, the game changer? What's the one that puts you in a position where you actually don't have to work as hard?
Mm-hmm.
That puts you in a position of more leading or managing your business rather than, you know, the daily grind of being in it. What is that referral? What is that referral source? What's that business that you can connect to that's really going to do that? Ask for that. Don't ask for just anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to know who it is that you're best suited for, as well as who's best suited for your business as a business owner.
Yeah.
Well,
And I find that we come into BNI. I was this way. We come into BNI and we think we know.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's brilliant people in the room, by the way. Not me. I mean, there are brilliant business professionals in the BNI rooms all across Southern Arizona. And they're willing to share, like, hey, I tried this. Don't do this. Or, hey, I did this. Do this.
Absolutely. Yeah, that experience and mentorship, I think, is pivotal, whether it's you're trying to lead a business or a nonprofit or volunteering at, you know, your local organizations, or just even managing your own life or your own family. Always being willing to learn and grow and to take that experience from others. Because I think I've heard you say this many times, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Oh, well, that is not a good place to be.
Right.
That's not a good place to be. I think there's a lot of, people that bring so much more to the table. And I think that's one of the things that happens in BNI too, that, you know, people come in, and the number one reason, of course, is to make more money, which is great. And I love that. And that's the tip of the iceberg. What ends up happening is everything under the water, right? That I can't describe. I couldn't describe if I had hours, I feel like. It's the camaraderie. It's the people that when good things happen to you in your business, when good things happen to you in your personal life, they got you and they're excited and they celebrate with you. And when cruddy things happen in your life and cruddy things happen in your business and you have challenges and maybe even, you know, sickness or something like that, those people surround you.
Your support system.
Yes, you see them every week. It is so much more than a group of people that get together to pass business. And unless you're involved in it and unless you're engaged in it, I can understand how that would be hard to know. You know, I hear a lot, well, why would you want to be in a room with the same people every week? Well, you're going to create great relationships, and it's not about selling them, right? There's only so much car insurance you can sell to 30, 40 people in the room.
Exactly.
The whole entire point of why we're in the room is to sell through that room. Who do you know? Who can you connect me with? Right? Who do I know that's going to be a great source for you? I might not be your best client, and that's okay.
But you may know somebody that is a good fit based off that relationship you're building. And
I might never actually use your product and service personally.
Mm-hmm.
But if I trust you, I'm going to transfer that trust to somebody else real quick. It's going to be so much easier that way.
Well, you've hit on some really key points so far, especially about that support system and about having kind of your tribe, your people there for you. Even though, you're living your best life, Chrisie, you're out there and really involved in our community. You really are kind of a matron in networking here in Tucson for us. Who are your people that you go to for support, or where do you turn when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're not best?
Yeah, it's, it's crazy. Bill and I were just talking about this the other day. When I went through my divorce 10 years ago, it was amazing to me the people that weren't there.
Mm-hmm. The ones you thought that would be?
Oh, I thought for sure they would be there.
Yeah.
And it was like they thought they could catch divorce if they were still friends with me. Like, oh, if I hug her, it's catching.
I'm going to show that I'm for it, or as opposed to
it was
for
so
you.
Weird to me. And were it not for the people that I walked alongside in BNI and that worked with me and members, I really have, I would have been in a hole. Like, they were the ones that called me. They were the ones that would come over, and they were the ones that I could yell at, because I didn't want to yell at him. I wanted to have a good relationship with him, even though I couldn't be married anymore. And so I didn't want to take it out on him. And those members, those people, like I said, people that were on my director team, they were the ones that held me up. There was very few of my friends prior to were actually there.
And I've heard that a lot, working with people with loss and grief, going through losing my son. I experienced that too. There are people sometimes that we have this thought in our mind, well, they should be, or they should be the ones calling or at the door. And yet it's like crickets. They just disappear off the face of the planet. But then there's other people that you didn't realize were in your corner that just show up. And you're like, wow, you're here for me. You're supportive. You're loving. You're kind. I didn't even know we had this close of a relationship until we went through this together.
Yeah.
And so I definitely get what you're saying. We're going to go on a short little break here, give some love to our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what it means to live your best life. We're here with Chrisie Ballard, and we'll be back right after this. And welcome back, friends, to Kiki's Keys to Unlocking Your Best Life, sharing stories of people who've been through their worst, now living their best to give hope and inspiration to others. And we are here with Chrisie Ballard. She is the owner, with her husband Bill, of BNI in the SoZona region, Southern Arizona. BNI is a collection of multiple chapters, lots of little groups of business owners who are committed to each other and to lift each other up and to be part of their marketing and support team, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have grown it quite a bit from when you got involved 10 years ago. When you started, how many chapters did you have?
When I bought it in 2010, I think we had seven or eight. We doubled the region in the first 5 years that I owned it. We made some really big changes. I had a really fantastic team. I mean, I can't take credit. We brought in really fantastic people that believed in it, and they shared it, and it worked. So
that's incredible.
Good.
It doesn't always go easy, though.
Oh, no.
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 How to adapt?
No. BNI is not. It's so funny that this would be the Saturday. I know we've been it's been hard, right, to get me on here, because it's been one thing after another. So I appreciate the patience.
You're a busy lady.
Well, it's not even busy. It's just crazy. It's not even busy. This week has been probably one of the toughest BNI weeks I've had in a really, really long time.
Do you want to share why that is?
Yeah, I mean, I threw the phone on Thursday and literally looked at Bill, and I was like, I quit. And he's like, you can't quit. He's like, how do you quit your own business? I'm like, I'm just kidding.
But I think we all feel that way, whether business owners or just through life, we want to give up.
Yeah, it's just the best thing about BNI. My favorite thing about BNI is the people.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest thing
is probably those
the people.
Yeah.
And it's I own a business. I don't choose my clients.
Right.
Chapter leadership teams and membership committees all across Southern Arizona, they choose my clients. And my name is used, like, oh, Chrissy said. And I was like, I'm fairly certain I definitely didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
And
but when you're in a part of leadership, people do attach you to some of the ups and downs that go within an organization. And
that's fair, right? I think that's why I wear the hat, right? That's why the CEO hat is on top. It's just not always easy, and it's a bummer. And I think people think that I have zero emotion attached to it, and that is not the case. I get upset. I get my feelings hurt. I cry. I take things personally.
I know you and I have even cried over, conversations.
Absolutely.
It happens.
And I think if somebody doesn't know me, Like, I was literally told this week, I used to have so much respect for you. And I was like,
Oh,
okay.
wow. How do you
All right.
how do you let that be their issue and not yours? How do you not take
Well, that's just time. Right.
Okay.
I mean, I used to have, I had somebody tell me years ago, they're like, well, you should not care so much. You don't need to care so much. And I'm like, the moment that I start caring less, I should sell this business and go, I don't even know, sell phones, like whatever. Like, I should not be in this business if I stop caring. They're like, yeah, but things bother you and they eat at you and I don't have time off sometimes, it feels like, because it's always there. And what I've realized is I don't want to care less.
No.
That's not who I am. That's not who I ever want to be.
And you're not living your authentic self that way.
No. What I'm learning to do with a crazy great business coach by my side, Stephanie Rising, is that it's not about caring less. It's about letting it affect me for a shorter amount of time. And only taking responsibility for what I can take responsibility for.
So how do you apply that in your life then? What's an example of that?
So this week, I've got a couple members. They're upset. They think something happened. They think I orchestrated the entire thing. I didn't. There's no convincing, right?
Right. If
And
someone thinks they're right, you can't change their mind.
Yep. There's nothing I can do about it. And so I made it right with the leadership teams, and I felt like that's what I needed to do. And at some point, we'll have a conversation, but it's not going to be right now. Because I am too emotionally attached to it. And they're not going to get the best of me. And that's not okay. And that's not just business. That's personal too. It's the same exact thing. You know, Bill is this amazing human that I feel like I just got blessed with out of the blue. He and my first husband get along fantastic. We have a great family. And yet even communicating with him, you know, I have to be conscious of how I speak and, you know, not responding and not reacting and not bringing in all the stuff, right? From a 21-year marriage and hearing all the things in my head, you know, you have to be, you just have to choose. You get to choose.
Those emotions still exist.
Oh yeah.
You have
they don't
to
go
feel
away.
them.
Yep. And I think it's the accepting of them and looking at them. And like I said, you're not responsible for how someone else responds and reacts. You're responsible for your words, your actions, and how you respond. And that's my number one thing that I'm going to say the word try, even though it's not a great word. I try to do is to not react, right? Like, take the subject, take the person's name out of the email, type the email, get all my feelings out.
Then take a break.
Then take a break, come back. Is that what you meant to say? No. Pretty much it gets deleted. And then now I can pick up the phone rather than emailing and have just a conversation because we're all adults, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes.
Well, we are all adults. We're also all human, and we all have that baggage of 21 years we're bringing into whatever we're doing,
Or all the
whether
stuff.
business
Yeah.
or personal.
Yeah.
I know for myself, my go-to is the serenity prayer. Telling myself, what can I accept? What do I not accept? What can I change? What can I not change? And even that is a practice.
Oh, yeah.
It takes practice. It takes doing it when it's hard for it to get easier.
Well, yeah, it's like faith, whether you believe in faith or not. For me, faith is one of those things. When you don't need it, it's easy.
Right. When life is going great and it's sunny and it's not too hot and light and you got to your appointment on time and everybody reacts the way you want them to, it's very easy to say, isn't life wonderful?
Yeah.
Aren't I so grateful for this moment?
Yeah, then you don't need it. You don't need it. It's when it's tough that you have to, you got to dig down. And BNI and the people and the relationships have taught me, they've taught me so much. I'm so eternally grateful. I'm definitely not the same person I was 20 years ago when I came in.
Well, I know one thing that makes BNI special, or in networking in general special, but BNI is a really pillar on this, is the relationship building. About not just do you do business with me and I do business with you, but really building that trust, building that relationship with time. What goes into relationship building for you?
Yeah, I think we have an unrealistic expectation that business relationships are not going to take time.
Either
Well, I'm really
get
good
it
at
or
what
not,
I do.
right?
Yeah, I'm really good at what I do. How come you're not going to use me?
Sure.
But how come? And I always say, how long does it take to create a really great personal relationship? Like you got a date and you talk about things and it takes time. Not everybody meets somebody, falls in love, they get married 29 days later, right? Like that's not what it is. And business relationships are the same thing. People are like, you meet every week. I'm like, on purpose, so that we can get to know each other. We can, really understand each other. We meet outside of the meetings for one-to-ones where it's just literally one-to-one. We can listen, we can hear, we get to know about somebody's family, about what do you like to do? Where do you network? What are you great at? Right? And then there becomes a connection. It's not just like most networking events where you're just getting business cards thrown at you. That's not, I tell all my members, you go to a networking event, you take 5 cards and you only give them to people that actually ask for them. Spend the time, get to know somebody. That's where the relationship happens. It's not about being in a room with 100+ people or whatever and not really connecting. I think you need to connect.
You're absolutely correct. We are running out of time.
I know.
Any last words or advice as far as living your best life, Chrissie? How would you translate that for someone else?
I think the biggest thing, I've been through an awful lot. Grew up in a volatile home. Married a really good man, stopped working, got divorced. I've been through a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think what it really comes down to is we get to choose. We get to choose who we want to be. We get to choose what we're going to do.
Well, thank you for listening, folks. Thank you, Chrissie, for being my guest.
Thanks,
Go
Kiki.
be the best you can be, and we will see you next week.